is going on today, y'all? Wanted to talk about, like, why I began doing this, because this is something I never saw myself doing, like these, doing a video channel, putting my face on something, doing videos. Never in a million years did I think that I was going to do that. But this was like 2020 when, a lot of us were waking up to things that were going on that we, hadn't known or heard of before. Like that there were people that were doing really bad things. So it was a rough wake up. But when you're, because it's now 2025, but when you're on the other side of that whole thing that began, you can see that there were people that were using it to wake people up, to put them back to sleep, so that they, had them on their side, as loyal followers, or, what have you, having them believe the narrative that was put forward. But, during that wake up, man, they had me crying and everything, because, this was about that they were hurting people, children, molestation, stuff like that, and that there were these symbols that were being used and all this stuff, and like some of these companies and who was behind what, just like who owns the TVs, the TV stations. Okay, so like, do you know what communism is? Do you know what it is enough to know that you're actually living through it, probably born into it, without it looking like it? It's made to look like you've got choice, but there's no choice. This Freemason 33rd degree group, or Illuminati, whatever name you want to give it, it exists. Okay, it definitely exists. You say, no, it's conspiracy theory. Well, that's your coincidence theory, There are people that look at things completely different if you believe that. That's the narrative you were fed. If you're someone watching TV, the news, and, the bread and circus they put out there, you're not going to really realize anything much went on. But there's been a lot of things going on. When I saw this stuff, back 2020, I guess it was about 2020, 2019, the end of it, I wanted to do something to stand up against evil and help, children, people that need help, that actually need help, not the ones faking it, and animals. I've always wanted to help animals, always wanted to help people, but if you're someone, like I found out that I was, a Cabbage Patch Kid, stolen, taken, kidnapped child. And I found out that these people do this all the time. Like you go to the hospital to have a baby and they'll switch it out. You either get one that they'll tell you, oh, well, something happened, they passed away, da-da-da-da, I'll tell you some story. They do things like this. It's so that they can have children that have, how can I say it, that have good DNA, good bloodlines, because these people have done things like cloning, test tube babies, things like that, and there's something to, how can I put it, a certain kind of spiritual, like source magic that's in, that's the best way I know how to word it, that's in when, it's two people that love each other and they create a living being. Okay? At the moment that the sperm goes inside the egg, it's, it becomes a living being. So, thou shalt not kill, that definitely refers to a baby in a womb. Thou shalt not kill. You don't kill a baby because someone gave you a narrative that it's okay because it's this, it's alien. They say the weirdest shit. Anything to get someone to sacrifice to Satan and not know that's what they're doing. Any death is a sacrifice to Satan. Obviously not pestilence, like flies, mosquitoes, cockroaches. No, tell me how that's a good life, or that there's something good or beautiful about it. There is about dragonflies and bees, and you understand the difference. And butterflies, they have a useful purpose. And of course we have animals that eat those, so maybe we need more abundance of those then. Frogs and bats. We don't need this GMO world that they have put out on us. It's really bad. There are those among us that are clones. Okay? I mean, like, literally, they take DNA from deceased and, do their cloning. They can inject DNA into an egg. Alright? They can do all kinds of things that you think that what they can do, they would let you know? They're not going to. I mean, they have literally satanic breeding. Nephilim is really twisted out of context. People aren't quite grasping it unless they ascend. They can only, accept it the way that they do. A lot of it seems to be literal. They actually think it's a real giant. No, it's someone that's acting as a giant, and they, make bonds with other people to make themselves as though they were a giant. Words have more than one meaning. Okay, you have to learn to look at things differently, a different perspective of it. They're like, if you take someone, because there's these families, these noble families that have this inbreeding, and they're not right, they're not right at all. But it's like they like to bring these people back to see the same, things being repeated, because clones are just going to repeat the past. And that's all they're going to do. They know nothing else. And they're about making other people like them so they don't stand out. So, alright, do you remember, like, being told as a child, the prayer that we were told, little bitty kids, and maybe you weren't, I don't know. But it was something along the lines of, lay my soul down to sleep, which I rebuke and reverse that, but something along those lines, or saying something along those lines, that's telling yourself to put your soul to sleep. So like when they say you're asleep, and great awakenings and stuff like that, it's your soul awakening, and that you're probably not using all of your brain if you're always in the TV. The TV is going to just affect the left brain, and you don't have the rest of your brain working for you, Watch, it's a documentary, and it's really good. I mean, it's really interesting. It's called The Divided Brain. It's free, and it's on YouTube. And it, talks about that, like the left brain and the right brain, and, the differences and stuff like that, and things you really ought to understand about it. But there are very, very wicked people that, like, aren't really human anymore. The only thing that you can do in order to be protected against it is to become high vibe. Okay, high vibe, high vibrational. To have a heart light as a feather, you literally turn to Source, God, Universe, not the little God that they sell you on, which is like government, Satan, Freemasonry. That's all very satanic. This whole world is inverted. The world that we live in is inverted. So you have to look at things that way, forward, backward, inverted, outverted, whatever it takes. Put a mirror to it. You look at things every which way. Like if you go, like I did, to this GE Matrix And it's a word calculator, so you type things in there. You don't have to enter or add everything. You just type it in and see what comes up. You can get to where you have like a code, or where you're like reading kind of riddles with your spirit guide, because only you would understand it and not someone else. Because, your spirit guides are talking to you personally about something. It may be something that it has to be kept quiet, okay? Because there's, say, bad people around you. Now, I've talked about in these other videos about healing your chakras. It's very important. If you're like, what is that? Yeah, I understand. I was there too. I was like, what on earth? But I found out you have more chakras, not just the 7 inside, but you have more chakras even on the outside of your body. They're energy centers, like portals, okay? And like one of them is your immortal chakra. So it's actually a really good idea to heal your chakras so that you can get that one also, healed, or just to get it in the first place. If you are in a low vibe, emotions and stuff, go look at the vibration scale. Look it up. Type it on YouTube and look it up. And look on there where you're at. Wherever you're at, all you got to do is go up one. Okay? So you work on that color. Also start with the root chakra, which is your foundation. Okay? When you learn what happens with these chakras when they're imbalanced, it has you all messed up. You won't have confidence. You won't have, self-control. You won't have willpower, strength. There's just so much. Intuition, to be able to hear from source, when you have these chakras all, cleared, healed, and activated, you become in tune with like the ethers, which is like your Wi-Fi to source. Okay? Excuse me. Computers were made after the human brain. Okay? So to look at it that way, humans can be hacked, and they hack them by, they use poison, they use drugs, molestation. I mean, they start when you're little. So you have no idea what's going on. They do memory erases. They have different ways to do memory erases. They do witchcraft, black magic, and me, I'm like, what? I didn't know what that was, They had done so much to damage my brain, my memory, everything that they could, that I had to. A lot of my videos were going through rebuilding connections in my brain. They had done so much. I mean, the little shit that lived down the street, who's now White Rapper Boy, just go look at how he used to look when he was a kid. Boy, he looks different. That's not normal, because, this little shit's the one that's been siphoned off of me, as well as God knows who else, in order to have, talent and this and that, but still can't sing. That's the worst shit I ever heard. I don't listen to it. Not his stuff. You know who White Rapper Boy is. Come on, y'all. Do you realize who Rumpty is? Go look at their faces and just picture White Rapper Boy with some ears on and, this, little that, and then they do that makeup to, blend it all in. I mean, looks just like them. I mean, I've had to grow up with this one dressing up in CIA disguises, and then, there's a movie about, and probably other shows, about dead presidents or people wearing president masks to rip off banks, like, it's like telling on themselves, like one CIA asshole, one baller. Okay, Hitler only had one ball, which means that's the same for custard. That's custard. You can say whatever you want, but I don't know. I'm able to, like, I guess that's, like the Akashic Records and psychic media. I don't know what it's really all called, but I've apparently been able to do this. Like, I was kind of born doing this. That's when they like to wipe me all the time, because I would say things, even from the past. Like, even talking like I'm that person in the past at that time is weird anyway. But when you can see who these people were in the past, go look up King Charles Habsburg of Spain. And then you have, because he had one ball and all kinds of issues because of that inbreeding. Water on the brain. Francis de Medici, I mean, he stuttered, and all his characteristics are exactly white boy rapper's characteristics. I mean, it's weird. It's really weird. And then you have King, what was his name? Ferdinand the Seventh, and I can't remember if that's of Spain. I imagine maybe, but he had the Epstein-like penis. So, and I've done a video about that because I've been raped by someone with that Epstein penis, and I put pictures up showing the damage that does. When you're being poisoned, drugged, whatever, I don't know, you're out. You don't know it. You wake up thinking, oh my dear God, what happened to me? Because there's nothing normal like that. Bent, misshapen. But they gotta have a narrative that that's what's, on TV, that's Epstein and Manson is Manson. No, that's not who stole me. The real person that's the Manson, that literally stole me, 1969, okay? I mean, do you know what it's like that they have all this narrative shit going on and the news media, all these people making all this money off of it, and you're that lost child, I used to look on the milk cartons as a little kid looking for my face because I never felt like I belonged with those people. They were just, I grew up in the darkest of, I don't know what you want to say it, of places, I mean, meaning the people. Very, very dark, very heavy, like hexes and curses on them, karma. And what they do is they need a Cabbage Patch Kid. They need a black sheep. The one that they're going to put as their black sheep to put all their blame off on. So they can put their karma on them. And that's how they go about getting rid of their karma. How many of you are a Cabbage Patch Kid, or there's Cabbage Patch Kid in your family? It could be anything. It could be a good one, or it could be one of these clones they put in. There's just all kinds of ways to look at it. Don't jump to conclusions yet. Just work on ascension so you can find out what is going on. Find out, do you have enemies in your family? Why are they your enemies? These people are about coming after people that have inheritances so that they can take it all, so they can't get anything. I've been working hard for years while dying, while they were coming after me, doing these videos, showing what they did, them erasing my channel so that no one would see that, all the bruises I had all over my body from what they did to me. They did all kinds of shit. They poisoned me. I literally died and came back. Back 2003, 7/16/2003, I died 4 times in the hospital. No telling how many times before I got there. The other hospital before that same day, was trying to let me just stay there and bleed out. They were out to kill me. Let me die. And the next hospital was out to kill me, smothering me. The doctor was. But they do their memory right stuff. So you're having to fight all that. Plus they've given me all the shots and all the poisons and everything to give me blood clots in my brain, mini strokes in my brain, multiple of them, and traumatic brain injuries. I mean, they had the police attack me and they gave me a closed head decapitation. They did all kinds of shit to me. I mean, I've been like their fucking wishbone that they think they shred it apart, that they get something. People that don't work You know, you want to talk about RICO? Are all these people paying taxes and all this money that they're raking in, that they're stealing, doesn't belong to them? It's not right. It's not right that they've done this. They're the ones that have created the systems that we live in, literally. I mean, I've traced these people back to the Demichis, traced them back to the Habsburgs, so on. It's still going on. And, of course, the Rasputin character, which, by the way, the Rasputin character is sleeping with White Rapper Boy, as well as they're sleeping with everybody else. You know, it's really disgusting. I mean, like, these people are having, like, you know, they go out and do swinger things, and I don't know, it's disgusting, but it's like you get this, like, vibe. Like, when I lived in Florida, when I was human trafficked over there by the Rasputin character, and I was in this area. It was like a kind of a resort, but it was like tiny home, campers or whatever. But it was, I'll call it the Cove of Shelter place that I stayed at. But I had like started to get this feeling like it was swinger neighborhood or something. You know, maybe not the older folks, but maybe, because it seemed like there were some of them. Because they were like doing things like they were litmus testing me. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like, I'm like, man, these people are, ugh. So, and I know, I mean, if you think that White Rapper Boy was not involved with the freak-offs and the baby oil, please. I guarantee he was the one running the whole show. How come it is that nowhere that you can go does anyone say anything bad about him? Because that's actually Lucifer. No shit. I mean, come on, y'all. You think that's a good leader? Supposedly he helped people that didn't have, and da-da-da-da-da. And then now he's going after homeless people? People in campers? I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is. I mean, you're sick. You are fucking mental in the head. Mental illness extraordinaire. When you want to go out after, like, homeless people, people that don't have, you're going to persecute people that these wicked people probably stole from, that they ended up like that. I mean, that's all they've been trying to do to me, is to make me homeless, put me on the street. Why do you think they're going after the homeless people? Because their hope is they're going to make me homeless, and they're trying any way they can to arrest me and put me away. I'm not the one doing anything wrong. I'm standing up telling the truth, so why are they trying so hard to get rid of me? I'm just telling the truth. It's because I'm saying things that they really can't hide. You know, everyone's been about taking the Wi-Fi away, phone away. They don't want me to have contact with the outside world whatsoever. Yeah, I'm in Alabama. Yeah, down by the water. I say Baldwin Pianos County, okay? This is one crooked county. Let me tell you, corrupt as they come. Which I've called, you know, the dead body smell next door, so I do the, whatever you want to call it, the crime tip, weak tip, whatever the heck it is. Nothing. No one does anything. You can tell the police nothing. I've been raped, I've been sexually assaulted, they don't do anything. They don't give a shit. How much money are they being paid to not do their job with my money? See, that's what's been going on. How many of you are going through something like this? How many of you are going through it and don't even know it? You know? They like to give people shots so that they can control them. You really don't have a need for shots. You can heal your body by healing your chakras. You heal your chakras, then you can be hearing like the divine and their messages on how to become healthy. All right. I mean, the first step I took was Second Chronicles 7:14, and of course Psalms 91. Now, as I have said in these other videos, books are for reference and heart is for truth, so that you can see what is true. I mean, how many times do you read in the Bible something about that the women will be ravaged and the children dashed to pieces? That's fucking horrible. How do you feel about that everyone's, oh, you know, Jesus this and that, because he He came here to suffer and die for all our sins. That's a scapegoat. Are you not aware? That's a scapegoat. That, everyone's putting all their sins on someone and expecting them to take it. And then they're going to sacrifice them. What is thou shalt not kill? Is anybody using all the parts of their brain here? You go to church, they don't want you to read it. They want to tell you the way they want you to think about it. Okay, when people sit there and do the communion, this is the bread, this is the wine, this is the body, and therefore the blood. So you're eating Jesus and drinking his blood? You don't think that's a blood sacrifice ritual that Satanists do? Hello? Have you ever heard of Bohemian Grove? Anybody awake? You have to think about these things. And sometimes people got to say things in a way that make you snap and go, wait a minute. There's a reason for that. These people are out to put everyone under hypnosis and illusion. They keep you in illusions with the fucking TV. You got to really choose what it is you're going to watch, You're one of these people, oh my God, I can't listen. I hear cussing. Oh, please grow up. Are you an adult? I mean, there's kids that act more adult than adults. Do you know that kids have electromagnetic sight? That's what they're trying to take away. That's why you heal all this, so that you can see. Spiritually see, however you want to say it. They teach that, they say divination bad because they don't want you to see what they're seeing. They need an advantage over you. And they use it illegally. You can't use it to spy into someone. Now, if the divine's telling you something, that's different. They may give you a personal message, or they have also collective readings, which that's numerous people involved, right? So, it's not so, I don't know how to say it, personalized. When it gets personalized, it's when they're doing so much bad, so much wrong that, they got to be called out for it. This is like in front of the whole world, and people are just la-dee-dee-dee-da, They're doing everything they can to keep people down that are telling the truth. So the people that are flourishing, and because they're going along with the narrative, whether they realize that it's a narrative or not. They put you to sleep with the TV. They also groom everyone with all the damn nudity, and they do it with women. Why? Because they hate women. Freemasons hate women. So that's their way of trying to humiliate them and shut them up, to always be paranoid that that's what they're going to do. Some people give more a shit about stopping evil, no matter what. These people are sick and demented. They will sit there and drug, poison, and rehypnol, roofie, whatever, in order to get what they want. I mean, I was somewhere between 50 to 70 pounds more than I am now. I've lost a lot of weight. It's because these people, they do siphoning, literally. They take it right off of you by making you suffer and work, and the uncle, not dad, who's on my birth certificate as my dad, but that's not a real birth certificate. I didn't have anything to do with that. I was a little baby, Yeah, that's another reason why Rumpty's after people without a birth certificate, Spare me, man. He's trying to do anything he can because it's him and his daddy and Rasputin. Those are the main three I keep seeing, and my mother. But that's what they were expecting, was for me to do what my mother did. But I ain't nothing like her. I wouldn't do what she did. She's, lost in the sauce. They got her doing evil a long time ago. They got these people about materialism and thinking about money, that, I'm not going to have money unless I do these satanic things. You're running out of lack and misunderstanding, and you're just heading towards every single thing that you ever did to someone, and it can it can come back to you 10 times fold, each little thing. I don't think people are grasping this, and the only thing that shortens your time is to come to God. It's like virtually impossible to tear someone away from their Creator. But, you know, if they're clones, they're not human anymore because they've moved so far away. You know, they've dropped down into the void. You are the one responsible for bringing yourself back. But we have people that are out here trying to help people, right? I've been kept down, and it's like everything they do to shut me up, but I want to help people that are going through that. And I'm talking about like energy readers, psychics, mediums, tarot readers, the ones that they're out there trying to put down and keep quiet, because if the world knew about this, it would change everything. They'd be able to know, I got a hair on my mouth, they'd be able to know so much that they don't now. They're just left to, you know, do you know the King James Bible? Okay, that is in every Freemason lodge. Okay, my uncle, not dad, is literally who King James was. Okay, I mean, you can look these people up, all right? I just have that knack, I guess, to look them up, or that gift, to look them up, see who they are, like their past lives. It's like weird, because it's like kind of like, remember, he was also Tsar Nicholas, and like the characteristics that fucker had, all he cared about was having a son, having a son, having a son, and about having war, you know, forcing this, forcing that. That's all this idiot fucking thinks about. He thinks he's God. He thinks he controls everyone here. He thinks that all your children belong to him, and that he can sacrifice them any way he wants to. Yep, and his son, white rapper boy, and my uncle, not dad, his, you know, I call him Uncle Samuel, because think Uncle Sam. You get who's running your country. So he, his other kid, which was supposedly my sister growing up, but that's not my sister. That's literally Elizabeth Bathory, who also later became Queen Elizabeth, you know, the fake Queen Elizabeth, the first one. You know, the one that had Mary Queen of Scots' head cut off. It's all the same people. John Knox later became Rasputin. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. You know, how do you deny it? I mean, even the movie The Blood Queen, that mole on her face is exactly where the Knot sisters' mole is. Exactly. I know that's what I'm dealing with. I know that I'm dealing with people that have this very sick, dark presence or negativity on them. It literally sucks the life out of a room. So, like, if you're around someone like that, you heal your chakras. You know, music's healing, nature's healing, animals are healing. These people hate all that. They are alien to it. That's a pretty big clue. But they're about making everyone like them. So you can't make snap judgments at all until you raise up in vibration and you've got your chakras healed to where you're really able to see, like, really well. And using psychic gifts, you know, reading, energy reading, that was a whole new world opened up to me. I mean, I've only known about it for like, I don't know, 7-8 months now. It shocked the hell out of me, because I ended up watching something that I didn't know that this was someone that did readings. You know, I think she was just talking. And then the next time I saw her, she had cards. I'm like, wait a minute, you know. But she knew so much. And I'm like, okay, something's going on here. So I started watching, started paying attention. And it's, you know, enlightenment, you know. I'm like, man, what I had been missing all this time. Because I had listened to the prophetic Christian, you know, people, and it was like going through cycle after cycle. It was just the same cycle. You couldn't get out of it. The only way I was able to get out of it was the tarot and the energy reading, the psychics, the medium. And then I found out that I was like a psychic, medium, energy reader, whatever else all that stuff is. Claire, this, that, the other. See, I don't know that much about it. But, all those kind of things. But what about you? What if you are, but you're, no, it's being blocked from you because someone programmed you with, oh, that's bad, that's evil. Well, how do you know if you don't check it out yourself? You'll sit there and watch TV with all kinds of nudity of women on it. That's okay, but not tarot and stuff, or psychic or medium, whatever. This nudity stuff got to stop, people. Y'all need to kind of catch your snap and realize what's going on. You don't want to be anything that's doing grooming to children, okay? Or people that are still that child even though they've grown up. These evil people do projections on people, to do destiny swaps. So there's a lot of people that are dealing with things and thoughts and emotions that are not theirs. They think it is, they believe it is, because they have that many people projecting it. Those are people that are trying to get rid of their shame, their guilt for whatever they're dealing with. Which if they got healed, if this went all the way up, if each one of them got healed, it'd go to the main one that's doing this to everyone. They either heal or, one way or the other. Point being, do you want to have a better world, or do you want it just to suck all the time? Which way? If you're looking where you're going, and if you're saying more positive words, which, you're speaking positive if you're telling the truth. Why did Plato say that he who speaks truth is he who is most hated? You're in an upside down world if that's so. It's inverted. But King James is who wrote the Bible. Before him, it was John Knox. The Geneva Bible was called the John Knox Bible. It's all of them together. They're a little Freemason group and, running everything and telling everyone how things are. And if they know things in your background, your bloodline, then they're able to use triggers and get you to do this. They keep detailed notes on everyone so that when, this one passes away, and they come back around, they know how to, how to be a puppeteer. Okay? They do this to people that are celebrity, non-celebrity, what you think is poor, homeless, or whatever, and they may have a huge inheritance. So it's about healing. Even if you have nothing, you can work on healing. As long as you got like a working, phone connection. Why would anyone want to keep someone from that? That's called freedom of speech. You don't have that right. Universal law. Literally, do as you would be done by. If you're not treating others that way, what's going to come back around to you? You see what I'm saying? Everyone has something to give, even if you have nothing. You can give love without touch. You follow what I mean? If you want to leave hell, be chaste. Why do you do that? So that other people aren't attacking your chakras. A lot of that is why. And you can't see who's got something bad on them until you, I don't know how to say it. It's like you get that cleared and healed off of you. They did things to people, like when they were kids, in order to hold them back and keep them from ascension. These people are terrified of it. They're absolutely terrified of it. You can go watch these movies like sci-fi, like the fantasy type movies, like the different type of movies. There's really a lot in it, but you've got to learn to see things, like with a mirror, to invert it, look at it upside down. I mean, there's even a movie called Upside Down. That, flipped me out, because I'm like, that's my accident. How did they do that? I mean, it's like how I landed and everything. I fell off a high dive, went splat. And it's right there in that movie. I'm like, okay, what's going on? I'm seeing things in these movies, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Things are like deja vus or something. It's dreams. There's dreams. That's why, white rapper boy who's maybe a little bit younger than me, that's why he's inbred, because that makes him like a twin. He's like my half brother and half nephew. So if someone's close to you like that, to be a twin, they're able to, see and know more, like twins do, like a twin connection. But I never had no connection to him. I completely forgot who he was. It took years for me to even remember him. It wasn't worth remembering. I never liked him. There was a number of people I just didn't like. It's just they were there and they were bothering me, so I just kind of, how can I put it? Stayed in my own world, even though that they were there. Just kind of ignored them. Told them, something that they, so they could run off and leave me alone. But that's who's been like trying to set up all this stuff, like, oh, this is JFK Jr. You're supposed to get married and all this stuff. You're not Junior. You're the fake one. But that's who did the whole 7/16/1999 thing. That was fake. That's a psyop. But that was to tell their Illuminati people to take me out 7/16, which they did, 7/16/2003. And there was an inheritance I was going to get from my grandparents, which would actually be the maternal side, not the paternal side. But they, they did something. I know they offed my grandparents. They murdered them so that they could get away with stealing the will, and then, not much longer after that, 9/11 happens. Big time inside job. Yeah. I mean, literally, you've got a bloodline that is, CIA